Hello, and welcome to Screen Share, a movie podcast about starting a fight club. My name's Calder,
And I'm Adam.
and this week our movie is Bottoms.
Fight Club. Oh, sorry.
He's stupid.
I mean, you did say that. You said that there's a podcast about Fight Club. Starting
a Fight Club.
So that was kind of the gist I got. But
oh, stop it!
Uh-oh.
Fuck me. It's too late for us.
Would
to
rather
do
not,
this.
but
I don't know what
we
my
can just
problem
continue.
is right now.
I mean,
Hi.
we're recording this one late. Today we recorded the awards episode, and it was kind of like a whole fuck of a thing. It took a lot out of us, I think. But we're here to talk about Bottoms.
Yeah.
We should say, so we're doing what we did last year, where we're each picking a movie from the previous year, and this is Calder's. Next week will be mine, and you chose Bottoms. Why you choose? Why?
Well, I chose this movie because I don't know. It's Emma Seligman directed this movie.
Mm-hmm.
She previously directed Shiva Baby, which is pretty high on our list. I think it's in the top 20.
Yeah.
I saw this movie in theaters. I was very excited for it.
Nice.
It's got Rachel Sonnet in it. We talked about her on the awards, her performance in Shiva Baby. And it's also got Ayo Adibri in it, who I first saw in The Bear.
That's
Have
like
you
the
seen
main.
The Bear?
I haven't seen The Bear. I've seen clips from The Bear, but that's like the main thing I know her from.
So she's very good in that show. And I was kind of like, who is this person? We got to get this person in more things. And then she started being in a bunch more things.
Yeah.
And this is like probably the first movie that she was kind of starring in. But she's got a couple other ones coming out. She's in the Thunderbolts, as we discussed. But I picked this movie just because I thought it was fun. It's kind of an old version of a movie that we used to get.
Yeah.
Which is like a teen kind of sex comedy. But it's a lot more like violent and more modern, I guess, more to our sensibilities than like the American Pies, where it's like a bunch of scumbags and doing shit, you know?
I feel like this movie's like almost making fun of those movies.
A little bit. Yeah.
Like with it's like very. Like, one of my notes early on was that everyone aside from... Or I wrote, every man in this film is a cartoon. And then my next note was, never mind, everyone is. Because, like, every single character is just, like, behaving in such, like, a nonsensical, like...
It's, like, over the top
way.
Yeah.
But, like, whoa. But, like, I don't know. It really plays to expectations of what characters should be, and it doesn't subvert those expectations. It like leans into them to the point of breaking them in a way.
Like the football players are probably the best example.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, okay, so there's football players. What's the subversion of an expectation of a football player in one way? He's not super tough. He's like kind of wimpy and kind of like, annoying. But still bangs, obviously.
Sure.
Which is Jeff, I think his name is.
Jeff is the main one, yeah.
Yeah. But then the other way is like ultra aggressive, violent, mean, which is, what's his name? Fowler or Miles or whatever his name is.
His last name is something
something weird.
It's like Frunk or something, but it's spelt like PHRUNCK or something like that.
Yeah, it's weird. But like number 2, we'll call him number 1 and number 2.
Sure.
Number 2 is just like violent, aggressive, almost always threatening to kill people.
Yeah.
To almost no end. It's just that's who he is.
And then number 1 is like confident and like cocky and aggressive, but not because he is any of those things, but because everyone babies him, so he doesn't have to be anything else.
Yeah.
To the point, he's literally like an infant in the movie, basically, the whole time.
But I just thought this movie was like really fun and funny, and I was like,
yeah,
of the 2023 movies, like we can't really pick anything from the back half of the year, which is like when which is when all like the good movies come out, right? Where it's like the Oscar movies. So like maybe we would have picked Ferrari or like one of these other ones. I don't know why that's always the one that comes to mind. I guess because it's got our boy in it. But then I was thinking about the earlier ones, and I was like, I didn't really like anything as much as like I think this is a fun movie that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I like the cast also. The cast is just incredible.
Yeah.
Made up of mostly young, new people. I guess Marshawn Lynch is new, but
yeah, but like I don't think he's done I don't think he's had a movie role this big before.
No, he hasn't. He was cast basically off of his Murderville appearance. Did you watch Murderville?
Yeah.
Which is like, if you haven't watched it, it's an improv Netflix show with Will Arnett.
Yeah.
Where like they bring on a celebrity and the celebrity tries to solve a murder mystery.
Yeah. Will Arnett and the other like actors know what the story is, but the celebrity does not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very fun. They had Conan on it. It was very fun. Ken Jeong was on it. Like they've had like I think it's a very funny show. I'm surprised that they haven't gotten another season.
They did that special with Pete Davidson.
I didn't see that.
Who Killed Santa, I think it was.
Okay.
But they haven't really done anything since, probably because Will Arnett made $20-30 million off selling Smartless. So like,
yeah, I
don't know. He's probably just going to do GMC commercials for the rest of his life.
And Lego Masters.
And make that fucking podcast. Ugh,
yeah.
I do not like Smartless. So let's talk about the cast.
Okay.
Actually, lied. Let's talk about the production of the movie.
Sure.
So the script has basically been worked on by Seligman and Sonnet.
It's spelled Senate. I don't know how
Sonnet.
I've always heard you say sonnet, but then in last episode when we had the name written, we both said Senate because it's S-E.
It's S-O-N-N-O-E. It's S-O-N-N-E.
It is. What?
It's S-O-N-N-E-T.
I could have sworn I copy pasted it. Maybe it is Sonnet then. I don't know, man.
They've been working on the scripts like kind of since they were in film school together. Around the same time that Shiva Baby was in production. And the pitch was like a girl start a fight club to have sex with cheerleaders. And I heard her mention this. I think it might have been both of them on the podcast, actually, on The Big Picture, when they were asked what the next project was.
Yeah.
And that was like the pitch that was given. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I wonder how they're going to like
do that.
Yeah. Because that's a movie that seems hard to pitch. And it was. It's like, it's weird, but it was just very hard for them to get this movie even to be pitched to companies.
Yeah.
Because they were just shutting it down at the door because of like, it's very like Gen Z queer coded kind of thing that I guess people didn't really get or understand.
Yeah.
But then Elizabeth Banks helped produce it.
I did see that when the credits rolled. I was like, oh.
So I started like looking into Elizabeth Banks and like what she's been doing. And her first big production thing that she produced was Pitch Perfect.
Oh, nice.
Then she directed and produced the second. I think just produced the third. Then she directed, wrote, and produced the Charlie's Angels movie with Kristen Stewart, which isn't like that bad. It's not great, but it's not like horrific.
I just remember hearing about it coming out leading up to it coming out, and then it came out and I didn't hear about it again.
Yeah, it's because everyone was just like, why are they doing this with these women? Like it was one of those movies where it's just like a bunch of dudes got angry about nothing.
Classic.
She then produced a movie called Cat Person, which is kind of like came and went, but I think it was acquired at like Sundance for a huge amount of money, and then just didn't come out or have anything about it come out. Then she directed Cocaine Bear, which was also I think came out this year, which is just like a movie.
When I looked up comedies in 2023, that was the first result.
Yeah. And then this movie.
Yeah.
Which
she didn't direct. Did she direct this? No.
Emma Seligman did.
Stupid question.
But it was like basically they went to every everywhere tried to pitch this movie, and then this was like the last place that they went to, or the only place they could get funding from. But the movie cost $11 million, which is kind of surprising to me, because
that it's so high or so low?
So low, because it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
But I guess they're probably not paying the cast all that much.
Yeah, and they don't have a lot of sets either.
Yeah, it's like the gym, some other basic stuff, but like
it's like the gym, the hallway, like 2 bedrooms, a suburb but they could probably figure that out, and then like the football field. Yeah, and that's basically
it's not that much.
Yeah.
But there was also like, after they had shot the movie, there was this bit where they went to like a boot camp for queer girls. That was their sergeant, or their leader was Punky Johnson's character at the end. And that was cut because the test audiences didn't like it very much. So then they had to like weasel in that she was their babysitter, which is like kind of a weird explanation.
It's a weird explanation, but like I didn't question it. I was just like, whatever. It was more just like I was confused as to why I should care about that character when she came up.
Yeah. It's just I think it would have played better if there was something where it like explained them in their relationship to her, but like,
yeah.
Oh well. This movie also had troubles like with the shooting, because they were shooting it in Louisiana, and they could not find a gym or a school that would let them shoot there because of the matters of the movie.
Yeah.
So all in all, I'm glad this movie was made.
Same.
I think it is a pretty impressive piece of filmmaking. We'll get into some of my like later on, but like,
sure.
I love that there's always things going on in the background, that it's crazy, that there's like so much production value in each room. Every character feels specific and silly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really lose that at all. Anyway, your turn. I've been talking the whole time. What did you think? Look at this. Look what I'm going to do here. What are you breathing? Why are you breathing?
You asked me what I thought, and I was just taking a breath.
We'll take the little one. Did you not watch the movie, or?
That would be funny if this is when you found out I didn't even watch it. My thoughts were this. I watched the movie and then I thought thusly.
This is just going rough already, huh?
I really liked it a lot. I honestly thought, I don't think it's as good as Booksmart or Superbad, but I feel like it's kind of in that kind of realm. Not only just in the type of movie it is, but also the quality, TBH. Like, I think it's like if Booksmart and Superbad are S tier, I'd say Bottoms is probably A tier. Like high school movie. I think that the beginning bit at the fair. Well, I guess they're in the bedroom first talking, which is also good.
I know what you mean.
The beginning bit at the fair with like our two main characters, which were PJ and didn't write the other character's name down. But I feel like it's I'm not gonna guess. You're looking it up anyway.
Yeah, I forget characters' names constantly.
PJ and
Josie.
PJ and Josie. In the fair scene with PJ and Josie, just like all of their dialogue and ways they talk to each other, and like them talking to each other about talking to these other girls, and then watching them talk to those other girls, and it being completely not at all what they discussed beforehand. Like, I feel like it just immediately sold me on like the vibe of the movie, which is like very self-aware, but in a like self-deprecating, but also kind of like cynical way, but it's also in like kind of an honest and like there's some vulnerable moments in this movie as well. But like, I don't know. like my first 3 notes are all quotes because they were just so good. I don't speak to the bitch for years. Boom, 20th high school reunion. When Josie's pitching her like plan to win this girl over. And she's like, yeah, I'm not going to talk to her. And then all of a sudden it's the 20th, not even 10th high school. They're in high school right now. She says 20th high school reunion. And then when they're like, yeah, people hate us because we're gay. And then it's like, no, they hate us because we're gay and untalented and ugly. And then they switch over and they're like, see, look at that guy. People love him. And it pans over to this gay guy walking past these 2 football players. And one of them goes, rock on, dude. Love what you're doing with the school play. And it's just like, there's just a lot of like very... It feels very genuine, but it feels like it's genuine through like an over the top lens, which I feel like makes it very fun. And then they meet Hazel
who's incredible.
I love the
Ruby Cruz.
Yeah, incredible. But like the fact that she like Josie has a cast on, which.
She just has a sling.
Yeah, she just has a sling, which was for no reason, right? I'm pretty sure. They don't really say. But, like, Hazel asks what happened, and then PJ goes, oh, she ate shit. And then Hazel goes, she ate literal shit? What the fuck? Like, so honestly and, like, earnestly. And it was, I don't know. I kind of just said a lot of nothing. But
interesting.
I liked the movie a lot. I do think there are some shortcomings. I think that a lot of moments in the movie, good and bad, kind of just happen to happen. I don't think that's an entirely bad thing, because I think like the characters acknowledge it. Like when they at the very end like win and like beat the football team and everyone's cheering
to death.
Yeah, and stab a man with a sword. But like all of the characters are basically like, I don't know what happened. I guess thank you. Yes, we'll process the fact that we killed people later. Like I guess this worked. Like they kind of just like acknowledge that it's weird that it was just solved that quickly, or like, and whenever something just happens for the sake of happening, they just like move on, so it's not really a problem. But it does kind of limit the movie a little bit as far as like getting a bit deeper with the characters in a way that like a Booksmart or a Superbad succeeds in, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess that's my overall thoughts, but I did really, really like it a lot. And I thought the writing and the performances were like easily the highlights.
Yeah, and I feel like Emma Seligman is just such a good director that it's just like there's things that are happening where it just like flows through, like the fair. Yeah, you're just kind of flowing through there, and it like isn't a complicated thing to do, but it's so well done with like the timing of everyone, and like
it almost feels like a one shot, even though it's not. Yeah, it kind of feels like it. Yeah, because they're moving through everything perfectly, and like going from one moment to the next, but they're tied together. Even when they like jump from the fair to the parking lot, it feels like that was like the next thing that happened. It didn't feel like a hard cut. It felt like we were just like, yeah.
So what do you think about Isabel and Kaya Gerber's character, Brittany?
Those
are the 2 girls that they're trying to hook up with.
I thought that... Which one was Josie's?
Isabel. Havana Rose Liu.
I thought that she was quite good. I thought that she was like really good as like... Because she's basically playing the character of someone who's very like nice and like you can tell is a good person, but is also very much deserves better than the situation they're in.
But she's also like kind of awkward too. Yeah, and like weird.
I mean, we've seen characters like this in other movies as well. She's like the cool, like popular girl, but like the one that like once you talk to like 2 times, you're like, oh, you're like you're a regular person.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just really liked her, especially. It does the thing where like as you start to like her, you start to feel worse because you're starting to like her as she's starting to like Josie, but she's starting to like Josie based on a false,
which
like,
I guess
image.
We should say. I guess if you're watching this and haven't seen the movie, Josie and PJ kind of get wound up in this lie that they went to juvie to start this fight club.
Yeah. Well, they don't get wound up in this lie. They start this lie.
I guess.
And then I guess it succeeds more than they anticipated.
And then I don't even know how to like describe the plot really, if I'm being honest.
Can I make an attempt?
Sure.
Basically, they both have the crushes on these cheerleaders, but they are like the losers of the losers at school. So, but at the fair, they try to talk to these 2 girls. They absolutely flub it.
PJ gives an incredible performance about eating a hot dog.
Yeah.
About telling Kaya Gerber to eat a hot dog.
It's like, oh, but you're so skinny. Oh, when Josie is like, because PJ is like, Josie, also, Isabel wants to say something to you also. And then it's like, yeah, you're also skinny little thing as well. Yeah. And it's just like so uncomfortable. It's so good. But like then they go back to their car and they're like, we both botched that. Let's just go home. But then they see Isabel and Jeff, who are together, walking in the parking lot.
Jeff is so strong though.
It's true. And Jeff is basically like complaining that she got upset that he was flirting with girls. And he said, if they're not in high school, it doesn't count, because he was flirting with a teacher, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, but then basically they offer her a safe space in their car to escape having to be near him. But then he stands in front of their car and Josie pulls the car up very slightly, taps his knee. He acts as if he just got run over by a bulldozer. Isabel gets out. Anyway, so that gets out and everyone becomes scared of them. Because they're like, that's crazy. Oh, yeah. And the lie was they told Hazel when she was asking about the broken arm. They made a joke about going to juvie.
Yeah.
But then Hazel believed them.
Mm-hmm.
And so then word got out that they went to juvie and that they beat up the lead quarterback, which isn't true. But then they got brought to the principal's office because the principal is obsessed with Jeff. Everyone's obsessed with Jeff.
How could you not be?
And basically they like make up this lie that they started a fight club with girls basically to like
protect, so they can protect themselves from the rival school.
Yes, because the rival school is going to Huntington, I believe, is going to be facing them in football, and everyone is scared.
And Sylvie,
yeah,
played by Summer Joy Campbell, is just incredible.
Yeah, insane.
As like an absolutely insane, anxious.
Well, she huffs glue. They make a comment that she huffs glue.
Of course she does.
Because they're like, she'd be cute if she lost her braces and stopped huffing glue. And then someone's like, she's never going to stop huffing glue.
But she's just fucking wild.
Yeah.
But she's scared that they're going to kill her.
Yeah. I like how whenever like anyone says anything, like any of the girls says anything, or like gives a speech, she just screams "Yas Queen Slay" over and over in like full like blood curdling,
like, insane.
But yeah, basically the word gets out. They lie to the principal, basically saying they started this fight club for female solidarity at the school. And that kind of saves them from getting expelled. So then they're like, let's actually do this club. Or PJ says to do the club. Josie is like, I have no interest. But then Hazel is kind of like
also
might actually
interested, yeah.
be good for like some community. Because something about Hazel's character is it becomes pretty clear she kind of just wants to be seen and like accepted.
She's the third wheel of the two.
Yeah. But like, so they start this fight club. It kind of starts to get out of hand. They tell more lies about being in juvie because it's impressing everyone and they feel like a little bit popular for the first time. It gets out of hand. The number 2 football guy starts to figure them out.
Tim also.
Tim, okay. But he starts to figure them out and kind of, he keeps approaching them and being like, hey guys, so I heard about your little stunt last night. And like just being really like passive aggressive. But yeah, basically they get caught up in their own lie. It eventually gets out. They have a falling out, but then it turns out that Huntington, the rival school, isn't just going to beat them at football, but also allegedly, and then it turns out actually, attempt to murder someone every time they face each other. But yeah, the plot's not actually that complicated, I guess. It's just they want to get with these cheerleader girls that they really like.
There's just a lot of
gets out of
things
hand.
that happen that aren't very like. There's just a lot of stuff that happens.
Yeah,
where it's just kind of like this and this and this and this and this. Like you left at the part where they go to Jeff's house and they blow up his car.
Yeah,
and like
all the Hazel
dates.
really wants to make a bomb.
Yeah, and there's also another kid that wants to make a bomb at the school.
Yeah,
which Hillary was like, that is just fucked up because there's like a school shooter type kid who gets a fruit cup thrown at him, and then
his first appearance is in Marshawn Lynch's class.
Oh,
where
right.
he says something. Oh yeah, he says something about the Holocaust, where he's like, we're going to be talking about the Holocaust, which did happen. And then he points at the kid and was like, don't say anything or something like that, because he's going to deny it.
Yeah.
So it's a Holocaust denier goth kid who gets fruit thrown at him. And he goes, that's the last straw.
And then writes down,
in all caps, scratch mark scribble, like, plan to blow up school.
Which does come back at the end.
Yes.
But like you also didn't mention that they go on dates with the two girls, and like
one of them succeeds, one of them does not.
Yeah, you're telling me. It's just there's just a lot of stuff, and it's all very funny.
Yeah.
I always find it hard to talk about comedies because then it's like, do we just go through the whole thing? But I love the stuff going on in the background of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the classroom, there was like a guy in a cage in the background. The mascot, I don't know if you noticed, has like a 12-inch dick, like a massive
Did not
dick on
notice
it.
that. Also they're the Vikings, so all of their posters say "Get horny" on it.
Yeah, yeah. And there's like, if you look at some of the extras, they're kind of doing weird stuff sometimes, or like. There's just like the principal's office is kind of like fucking weird.
Yeah.
And one criticism I read about the movie from the New Yorker's Richard Brody was that, and he ended up like saying that he enjoyed the movie and thought it was fun and all that, but like he's just kind of like, there's no sense of place or time in this movie, which kind of takes it out of the real world in a way, so it can't address things like maybe a "But I'm a Cheerleader" could, where that like is directly going like, it's about like sexuality and like high school and all that stuff. But I think that kind of helps this, because I feel like if it was set obviously now, it would be kind of boring.
Yeah.
Because like the thing with Shiva Baby and this movie is, I think they are both in a way influenced by social media, but they're not about social media.
Yeah.
Where it's like, the characters are very like of the world where social media is going on. One, because in Shiva Baby she's a sugar baby, but in this one because like there's so much fear mongering, there's so much like anxiety, there's so many different people kind of like in the same spaces and trying to find space where they can connect to other people.
Yeah.
But other people hate that they're trying to connect with each other, and like it's just like very internet influenced, but I'm glad it wasn't like about the internet, because I always hate movies when they're trying to like comment on stuff and it's kind of heavy-handed and you're like, ugh. Like the only one that I think has done it kind of well is 8th Grade.
I was gonna say that's the first one that came to mind.
But like,
but
other than that, how many really good movies about social media are there?
Well, because it's
right?
usually written and directed by like
older people.
Like, I feel like you kind of need someone who grew up on it, and like, or like, I feel like not. I hate like Gen Alpha, Gen Z, Millennial, Gen X, Boomer. Like, that's all fake. That does not exist. Don't acknowledge it, please.
Sorry.
Genuinely, it's okay. But like the thing is, I feel like Gen Z people, and like I think a little bit millennials as well, we had a period not with social media, and then we've had period with social media.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the thing is but like in it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I feel like older people, like older millennials and like Gen X people, like, yeah, they had time without it and they've had time with it, but they haven't really had time with it. Like maybe some have, but like, I hate to say, it sucks to say, but like, for the most part, our lives are kind of like engulfed in it.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, it like for someone to not be on social media is like crazy, at least in our generation a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I think a lot of the movies that talk about it or address it or surround it, they're like, they just scratch the surface. Or it's like you kind of forced me to watch the beginning of Grown Ups again.
It's so good.
Like the kids are playing a video game, but the video game is literally just murdering civilians at a public pool and cutting them apart with chainsaws.
Yeah.
And it's like literally not a single game is like that.
There are violent video games, but there aren't video games where it's like, let's murder like widely played.
It's literally
ones.
Things where you cut a civilian's head off and it goes triple score, and it's like, that does not exist.
No.
And like maybe a game like that exists, but it's probably $1 on Steam.
Yeah.
And has 3 reviews.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, and that's,
you're not playing that on an Xbox at 12 years old.
Exactly. So like, that is like, for lack of a better term, that's like a boomer's view of what video games are, or popular video games are. And similarly, I think like a Gen X or a boomer's view on what social media is like, we put out a Twitter, like, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas like what it really is like what 8th Grade captures or what Shiva Baby captures, where it's like, or I guess there's not much
social media, but it's like,
but it's like, it just shows the influence of it, where it's like, it's almost like just in regular life when you're talking to someone from an older generation, where just things that you kind of just like assume are commonplace and like everybody understands, just like don't really like come across. Mm-hmm. I can't really think of like an immediate example, but just like in talking, you'll like say something that is related to like the internet and they'll be like, what?
Well, I always find like there's a lot of jokes that my parents don't get.
Yeah.
And then it takes like, if I really want to like explain what's going on with it, it'll take like 20 minutes.
Yeah. And at the end they'll go, oh.
Yeah.
How was I supposed to get that? And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I get it. Like,
it's like in the neurons of younger people's brains is a history of all of these things.
Yeah.
Where like when you hear people who are older talk about social media, it is very much like, oh, did you see the thing on established social media site or like Variety or whatever, like, or like this house tour thing. It's not like, so this Shrek meme connects to this one, but also like that's like a mix with this other thing, and that's a top. Okay, so that's a top border, like black border, top bottom text meme. So like that joke all connects into this one video about the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah.
And now I'm seeing all of these things and I'm giggling at this poorly edited fucking thing.
Yeah.
Of these guys.
You need to kind of be like in it to understand any of it.
Like, I don't think my parents would like this movie almost at all.
No, I don't think mine would either. They would just truly not get it. Because I think it's also just like you sense the influence of social media, and it's not even just social media, but the internet. You sense like its effect through the characters, just in like how they act, what their insecurities are, what they're thinking about, like, in a way that, like, I don't know. Like, I remember when 8th grade came, I still haven't seen 8th grade, which kind of boggles my mind. But, like, I remember when 8th grade came out, people being like, this is the first time that a movie's come out with, like, social media as a focus, where it was actually literally anything like what social media is like.
Yeah.
The only other thing I can think of that does a decent job is Heartstopper on Netflix, the series, where it's like phones and like texting and posting things online are like very much a part of it, but like it's like a little bit of a romanticized version, but like for the most part it's like, yes, when you post something, people will see it and comment on it, and then you'll go to school and people will reference it, and like everybody's aware of it.
Yeah.
And like it changes, like what happens on social media affects what is in your real life. Whereas like I feel like other movies that have like involved social media, it's very much like, yeah. It's like, did you see that tweet?
Yeah.
That so and so made? Yes, I actually retweeted it. And it's like that's the extent of it, and it's like, no. If that is like, that can be true, but if that is true, all of this must also be true, but they just miss that whole part because usually the people who have written it or like the studio execs or whoever don't understand that. Didn't think we'd talk about this, but
I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
So I just find that very interesting, and like the line that was walked when making this movie of like what we're going to include, what we think is funny, and like the fact that I think even like I'm constantly chuckling throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And like I think it's just well made and well paced, and your phone's blowing up, and that's okay. What's going on? Is it okay?
Yeah, my phone is not blowing up. Has it been blowing up? I got one notification.
Oh, I was feeling it vibrate like the entire time.
Oh.
Not to be rude. Not
it's
to be
literally
rude.
Fine.
I also like the fashion sense in this movie.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Kind of wish I could dress like Josie, but I don't think Hillary
same.
would like it very much.
Yeah. I kind of like how when they show up at the fair, they both like what they're wearing is like fine. Like I'm actually kind of like what they're wearing, but I'm also like they kind of look like shit. Like they kind of show up in a mess.
Yeah.
But like I think it's just kind of because they don't really care about themselves at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Like they're very like down on themselves. I do, because I think that they start to look better and like dress better, take better care of themselves. Like as the movie goes on a little bit, not like much, but they still like maintain their style. But especially in that first scene, they kind of just like the sling, like the frizzy hair, like they're just kind of showing up. But like I kind of like the style of like the whole movie, not even just those two characters, but
yeah, I like the style of the whole movie, and the music's also great. Charlie XCX worked on it. She also worked on our music for the next movie.
That's true.
So, do you have any notes?
I do have some notes. Let me just go through them. These girls have negative riz, I wrote down.
They actually do. They have literally negative riz until the date scene.
Yeah, they're actually both really good at...
They kind of riz them up.
Actually, I don't even know if Josie's that good in the date scene. I think she's not negative riz.
PJ does riz her up, though.
Yeah, PJ's got riz in the date scene.
And it would have worked if she was gay, but she's straight.
Honestly, so on Josie's date, I think that Isabel carries. Like, she's guiding the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then for...
Josie's mid-riz.
Yeah. But then for PJ's quote-unquote date, it wasn't really a date. Mm-hmm. But, like, for her study sesh, like, I think they were both, like, kind of in that realm. You know, they were both doing pretty well. And smooth talking.
Mm-hmm. Kai Gerber's got quite the room, huh?
Yeah.
You think that was her real
it's a mess
bedroom?
In here, literally pristine.
You think that was her real bedroom?
No.
Could have been.
Could have been.
Daughter of Sidney Crawford and George Clooney's business partner when he made Los Amigos, Los something,
Dude,
Tequila.
If the context for who someone is like completely nothing.
What do you mean completely nothing? Randy Gerber. He was it Casamigos is what it's called. Alongside actor George Clooney, they made tequila brand Casamigos. He's also a real estate businessman with a guy as well as nightlife companies. She also did at one point did
yikes, man. Get
Austin Butler. You date Austin Butler too, huh? But Austin Butler no longer. Pete Davidson at one point too.
I did like that she went to basically like open a window, but doing so was opening the double doors to her balcony attached to her bedroom. Just insane. I
think she's pretty good in this movie.
I think she's good, yeah. I do think that she's probably one of the less interesting like side characters, but like not really her fault.
No.
But she has a couple subtle moments that I like when Isabel goes and like accepts Jeff back after finding out that Josie was lying, and then they both walk away and she's just kind of standing there
and she's like
I guess I'm
yeah,
like I think that's just her kind of realizing that like
because Kai's kind of the sidekick.
Friend, yeah, how she's like my one closest friend, like I'm not her first priority.
Yeah.
So perhaps actually having other friends isn't a bad thing. What else did I wrote? Oh, I wrote Marshawn fucking Lynch because he showed up and I was like, yo, what? No, I didn't, which was pretty exciting. I love Marshawn Lynch. He's a goofster. I wrote I feel bad for Hazel. This was like before anything really like this was before the big blow up where PJ like lays into her. It was just fully because like it was clear that she wanted to be a part of something and really valued the club because it was creating a community of like women at the school where they like felt safe, but she really wanted it to succeed for that reason. Meanwhile, like Josie is kind of indifferent a little bit and PJ is like fully focused on like what she can get out of it rather than like what it's providing for everyone. And then like they do that like open up at the meeting and like share feelings bit, which was Hazel's idea, and it's kind of just made to be an opportunity for Josie and PJ to like be more vulnerable and like,
I don't think PJ like says anything.
No, PJ doesn't say anything.
Which is an interesting choice because she is very like she's a very guarded character.
Yeah.
You don't really know that much about her at all. Like I don't know if we see her we don't see her home.
No.
We don't really hear anything about her parents. Like she's just a funny, crazy physical comedy character.
Yeah.
With no like but like seems to guard the more emotional stuff from people.
Yeah. And then Josie shares, but it's just a full lie about girls
which is
betting on her.
I didn't love that part because I don't understand why.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about this before. I don't love when a character lies in a movie, but like it doesn't make sense, and it's kind of
it's a little
clearly
unprompted.
Only to set up like a falling out later.
Yeah.
Because like why, especially since up to that point Josie had been like pretty like. Yeah, I don't really... because like it made sense when she went on like a rambling tangent in the principal's office because she was panicking about being expelled.
Yeah.
And like it makes sense when she kind of like made something up at the first meeting because PJ put her on the spot. But like she did not have to volunteer that information.
Yeah.
She literally said to build on that, and then like completely lied about like girls betting on her fighting at juvie. And it's like it kind of felt out of place.
It's an incredible performance.
Yeah.
But I just don't know why.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like someone, like, even if someone was just like, and like, what about your experience at juvie or something? And
or if she like started to share
had
something
to
that wasn't juvie related and someone was like, did that happen at juvie? And then she'd have to be like, yeah.
I was just kind of, because even the first time I watched it, I was kind of like, why?
Yeah. Because then that could also set up a thing later where it's like, it wasn't all lies what I said. Like, what I said was true. It's just I felt like I had to lie about the juvie thing because I thought that was the only way that, like, people would accept me or think that I'm cool.
So I feel like there's a missing piece in there somewhere.
I agree. But, like, even at that meeting, it was Hazel's idea to do that, like, opening up, getting to know each other meeting. And then she starts to share that, like, her mom's kind of going through a midlife crisis and it's like really stressing her out and she doesn't know what to do. And she's like goes home and she's miserable and how she's like really thankful for the group because at least she has a safe space at school. And then she's literally interrupted, I think, by PJ because PJ's like, what's PJ's love interest again?
Brittany.
Yeah, is like, Brittany, what was it that you were saying about that again? Literally interrupting Hazel. And so that's when I wrote that I feel bad for Hazel, just because, like, she's constantly being underappreciated and, like, stepped over and, like, ignored.
And she gets the shit kicked out of her.
Yeah, then she gets the shit kicked out of her because Tim, the football guy, tells her... Because she has a falling out with Hazel because... basically, they blow up Jeff's car to get back at him for cheating on Isabel with Hazel's mom.
Classic.
Crazy.
Classic.
But anyway, so they're basically like, no chance the club's going to stay together. Obviously, this is going to come back to us. The club's over. And everyone is okay with it because everyone's in a good place except PJ because she hasn't gotten in Brittany's pants yet, which was the whole point. So she kind of like blows the whole thing up at everyone else's expense. Like, at Josie's expense, at Hazel's expense, like at all of the other girls' expense because they all had a good time, and then like goes in on Hazel. Hazel basically is like, you could start being nicer to me because I've been running this club for you guys, and also I know your secret because they do tell Hazel that like they didn't actually go to juvie. And then PJ's basically like, you have no friends, your mom is a skank, I think is what she says.
Something
and just like goes in on her, and Hazel still doesn't break the lie. And like, so anyway, but then Hazel is approached by Tim and Tim's like, you can fight Hazel in front of everyone to show off your skills. PJ. But then it turns out he actually pits Hazel against the school's best male like wrestler
who they keep in a cage.
And she actually does a pretty good job against him for a bit. But then he kicks her in the face while she's on the ground.
Yeah, that's rough. It's so rough.
But like, I do like that the only person who seems to be like put off by any of the violence or weird stuff that happens in the movie is Marshawn Lynch, where he's like, we gotta shut this shit down. And people are like, no, it's fine. And he's like, okay.
I really like all the fight scenes in the movie. Like even the first like fight club scene where they're just like kind of circling each other and like popping their fists out.
Yeah.
Like trying to punch each other in the nose. I think it's all really well done. I think with the music it works very well. It's very entertaining.
Yeah.
That fight scene with Hazel and the wrestler is great.
Yeah. It's
and
brutal.
Also the end fight scene. It's just like...
The end fight scene's so good. There's so much going on. Yeah. And it's so over the top. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, what are we supposed to believe? That it's not believable that, like... They were so bad at, like, fighting in the fight club. It was a fake fight club, and then they killed a football team. Like, they'd get destroyed. And it's like, I don't think it matters. It's, like, really fun.
Yeah.
And it's a good time. But I don't know. So I just feel bad for Hazel. I think Hazel might be my favorite character. Maybe, actually, I think for sure Josie's close. I do like Josie, and like I feel like I relate to her a lot, but she also does make some dumb decisions and lie. Next note, PJ kind of sucks. I honestly don't like. There's not like PJ is kind of like self-centered the whole time and acting in her own self-interests the whole time, very often at the expense of others. And then like even all the way to the end when she's arguing with Josie when they've been found out and they're arguing in the gym alone, like Josie's basically like, this is horrible. Like Josie's talking about how PJ was selfish for making Hazel feel so bad that she like outed them for lying and like did this whole thing in front of the school and broke up the group and like ended the thing with bad vibes just because she couldn't get in a cheerleader's pants. But then PJ turns it around to be like, yeah, but you wanted to do this, when Josie didn't want to do it actually at all.
Which is literally, it's what Josie says.
Yeah. Which like, so I don't know. I guess it just surprised me to have two main characters argue about like whose fault it is, because that happened in Superbad, that happens in Booksmart, like it happens. Like, I feel like it's a very common movie thing for the two main characters to have a falling out over, like, whose fault something is. But I've never had one where it was, like, to me, like, Josie's not, like, her hands aren't fully clean. Like, she's still made mistakes and lied and all this. But, like, to me, it's very clearly one-sided as far as whose fault it is. Like PJ was like much worse,
for sure,
and like kind of blew the whole thing up for her own self-interest, and like I don't know. And because the thing is too, she blew the whole thing up and everyone has bad vibes after she like lays like curses out Hazel or whatever at that last meeting. But she doesn't even seem to really care at all because she goes back to Brittany's house anyway. And it's like, she only cares after Brittany turns out to be straight and then is still negative. And it's like, and even when she apologizes at the end, it's very clearly like Josie's forcing her to apologize to everybody. I do think like at the very end, it's clear that she's like kind of accepted like that she was wrong and that like she likes this group, but I don't know. I didn't love PJ.
Is just like, I think it's an incredible performance, but the character is just like a bad person, kind of. Yeah. And there's like other issues that this character has. Anything else?
Well, I just want to last comment on PJ kind of sucking was like, Josie finds out that one of the football players is going to be murdered, and then runs and like shows up in like beside PJ's car basically to be like, we've got to stop this. She's like, I feel like we need to like make up or something. We need to make up because we have like there's something we have to do. We have to get the band back together basically. And PJ's like, well, no, because I'm pissed off at you. And I'm like, you are not the person who should be saying this to me. You're actually maybe the last person who should be saying this.
You're heated about PJ right now.
Well, I'm just like I don't know, because it's a group of like 10 girls, and like she puts herself before all of them, including her childhood like best friend.
Yeah,
and like including the girl she has a crush on, including her best friend's like maybe before potential girlfriend, but then she fucked it up. It's so just true. Like I think it was just like the audacity to be like, I'm angry at you after like she's the one who kind of like she didn't start the lie. Josie started the lie with the principal, but it could have ended there. After that, it was like all PJ pushing, and then she's mad at everyone else. I don't know. Didn't love PJ as a character. I think she's a funny character. I think there's a lot of great lines. I think she's a great foil to Josie a little bit. I don't know if I'm using that term correctly. But I don't know. As we've learned before, I'm not like great with like when characters aren't super likable, and this is like one of the biggest cases where I'm like, I feel like I need a little bit more to grasp onto to be like, I care about this character.
I think there is a little bit of like internality missing from some of the characters because the parental element is so lost in the movie.
Yeah.
Whereas in the other ones, you get a little bit of each of their parents and like how they relate to that situation.
Yeah.
Whereas in this movie, there are like no parents except for the mom, who is in it for like 4 shots scenes, and like a scene and a half. Like she's not in it very much. So I agree with you in a way. I think it was also just probably a budget constraint thing where they're just like, it's getting too expensive.
Yeah. I have only 2 more notes.
Okay.
When the babysitter is saying all the different ways that they killed football players over the years.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like saying like, in 82 they did this, in like 97 they did this, and they're like insane things, but in my head I was like, well, that was pretty long ago, to be fair. And then she says in 03 they pulled a boy apart with horses.
Yeah.
And I'm like, in 03 they did that?
Yeah, when it's 19 you're like, well, maybe.
Yeah.
But then when it's 03 they can't be quartering people.
Exactly. It's insane. And then my last note was just that a man got stabbed with a sword, which is
accidentally.
But I just remember at that point, because I was like, you could argue that all of these football players were knocked out. Yeah, they're bleeding, but like they're knocked out. When he got stabbed with a sword, I'm like, not only do I know he's dead, I'm pretty sure everyone else might be dead too.
Yeah, they killed them all.
Yeah.
Thank God. Well, they were going to get pineapple juice on Jeff.
Yeah.
Which is
not allowed.
Final note for me. I think this cast is incredible. I hope to see them in more things. I know Rachel Sonnett is probably got a bunch of more projects. Io Debris, as we said, is one of the hot names in Hollywood. But like Ruby Cruz
really had like a way of like feeling very like. I feel like she just kind of nailed the like anxious, like I don't know, maybe like a little ADHD, like I don't know. Something about her delivery on like everything just feels very, very like genuine to me, and I really
she's very natural. She's incredible at delivering these lines that are like insane. Even in The Bear too, you're just kind of like, oh, she's just perfect for this role.
Yeah,
she fits it incredibly.
Yeah.
But like Ruby Cruz, Havana Rose, Lou, maybe Kaya Gerber. I don't know. We'll see what she gets up to. Her dad is Randy Gerber. I don't know if you know from Casamigos. Of Gerber Baby fame.
Is that true?
I don't fucking know. Of Casamigos fame. Cindy Crawford is her mother. The Jeff guy, Nicholas Galitzine, is going to be like probably the next hot teen girl obsession kind of thing.
Maybe. Although like...
No, I'm telling you he is.
He is?
Yes.
Okay.
He was in this Amazon movie called Red, White, and Royal Blue, which is kind of like a queer love movie that was big on Amazon. And then Purple Hearts also. That was... Did you ever see that on Netflix? It was in the top 10 for like a month. But he's just going to be in so many more things.
Okay.
So you should probably get used to seeing him around. But like, I think Miles Fowler, who plays Tim, is incredible in the movie.
I think he's so good. Because can I say something about the guy who plays Jeff, just to get negative for a minute?
Mm-hmm.
Guy who plays Jeff. If you're listening to this or watching this, I'm sure that you're great, and I thought you were great in the movie also. But like in the credit sequence when they're like showing some bloopies,
which I love.
I love when they do that. I love it. Because I love at the end of a comedy seeing that like all of the people I just watched actually got along and had a fun time. It just makes me feel better about the movie for some reason. But like to me it felt like, because they showed a lot of like alternative lines, because a lot of the lines were like improvised, which is cool, which I always love. And like it felt like almost every actor that like had multiple lines, especially the guy who played Tim, like it was like they'd have like 5 lines that were like vastly different, very creative, very funny. But like the one they showed for the guy who played Jeff was when he was like cussing out the lunch lady.
Yeah.
And the lines they used were like, I don't know what her name was. Let's just say it was Janice. But it was like, eat a dick, Janice. Get fucked, Janice.
Yeah, it was all
eat
very
shit,
similar
Janice.
stuff.
And it was like, I was like, those are things that like anyone could come up with.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just not a good improviser, which is fine.
And he didn't have a lot to like say or do.
Yeah.
Aside from being like, oh, I'm Jeff. But apparently like Marshawn Lynch, some of his takes went for like 10 minutes where he was just going on like.
Well, there was one they showed where it wasn't 10 minutes, but it was like 15 seconds of him like talking to
the girls in the gym.
girls in the gym, and he just keeps going.
Yeah.
And they're just like nodding and like shaking their heads.
I don't think you can say that to
anything.
us. Like,
yeah, man, what a group. Amazing. I haven't really thought about it, but like athletes going into film, like
it's wrestlers a little bit.
What?
It's like The Rock.
Yeah. I just feel like there's
Cena.
not many that actually do a good job.
Especially
and Marshawn
not
is
superstar athletes.
Oh, yeah. And Marshawn is one where I'm like, man, he just nails it.
Yeah. Because, like, there are athletes that have become actors, but they weren't the best running back in the NFL for, like, 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, Wyatt Russell played hockey at a high level. John David Washington was, I think, going to play college football. Like, they're athletes.
Sure.
But they're not, like...
Superstars.
Yeah. Won multiple Super Bowls.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, can I just say, Conan having Marshawn Lynch on what was it called?
The video game.
The Gamer show. Like,
Conan
really, I
reviews.
think did a lot for Marshawn Lynch's like entertainment career. Because I remember that coming out and being like, I don't know who this guy is. I love him.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Which is
great.
awesome.
That's just an absolutely classic thing. There's a Conan channel on it's on like the
Samsung TV Plus.
Yeah. That's just incredible that they've added that. I love that.
That's good to know because I got one and I currently have it on, I think, That Girl. You know, that old sitcom?
Bad.
Not bad. I actually watched a couple episodes and I thought it was not bad.
You know what's better?
Conan O'Brien.
Let's get into the questions.
Yep.
I only have a couple. Do you have any?
No.
What's your favorite scene? I think for me, it's got to be the intro is very good. Like at the fair is very good. I
think mine might actually be like when they're walking back to the car and then get in the car because it's Josie just like basically monologue ranting to PJ, but it's very clear that it was like improvised.
Yeah.
Because Rachel Sonnet's just sitting there like she like keeps going from like serious face to like kind of smirking where she's just
like trying not to break.
Yeah, or she's just trying not to break and kind of just like listening to what she's saying and being like, oh,
when
okay.
she's like going on the rant about like having to marry the gay guy and then like
please visit me on Sundays and all this. Like just like I feel like that monologue is so good, but like knowing that that's just two people trying not to laugh during this very funny thing makes it even better.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So I think that's a great one.
I do love I love the date scenes.
Yeah.
I think they're like very charming, and like the way that each of them flirts is like very like cute, I guess. I don't know. It's a weird way to describe it.
No, you
but
could say
like,
something's cute.
I guess. But it's just like, it's so like innocent and whatever, where as in I feel like other movies that are more male focused from the early 2000s, not specifically Superbad and stuff, or more like vulgar.
Well, just using Superbad as an example, like when Michael Cera gets with the girl that he had a crush on, like she's drunk and she pukes on him.
Yeah. There's like a vulgar thing to it.
Yeah, and then when Jonah Hill gets with Emma, like is finally talking to Emma Stone at the party, he passes out and breaks her nose. So it's like the moment is kind of cut for some comedy, which like works for the movie because there's other sentimental points. Mm-hmm. And then the movie ends with them going on these dates and you assume that they go well, but you don't actually see them. Whereas here, like, there's not a lot of sentimental moments throughout the movie. It's kind of just like this section is like very sweet and like genuine. So them kind of like nailing it and like staying with it and it like being good and being okay. Mm-hmm. And like going not undercutting it.
Yeah.
And like also having the awkward moment where like Rachel Sonnet or when PJ kisses Brittany and Brittany's like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't like I'm straight. I didn't mean I'm sorry if I like led you on or anything." And they have this awkward moment where it's like, "Oh no, it's not your fault. Yeah, it's fine. We could just keep studying or should I go? I don't know." And like they have this awkward moment where they could have like I don't know, undercut it with a joke.
Or it could have been a lot more like aggressive.
Yeah.
Like in like an American Pie, that is like an outrageous bit, crazy thing, like faux pas that happens.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, it's like a bit of an awkward moment, but also like everything leading up to it is sweet. And also it doesn't feel like the whole thing is about having sex like those early 2000s ones are.
Yeah.
Where it's like even Superbad, it's like the goal is we're gonna fuck. Like,
well, because it feels like Jonah Hill is like, I want to fuck. It feels like Michael Cera's like, I don't necessarily want to fuck, but I feel like I should.
And I'm ready.
And I'm ready to if I need to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I found, and in Booksmart as well, just comparing them to these two because they're obviously, but like, in Booksmart as well, like when Caitlin Dever, or Amy, is like getting with the girl in the bathroom, like that's also like a very sweet, like sensual, but also like consensual, and like you can see that they're like making sure each other are okay, and like that brings so much more to the scene, which is also done in this movie. Now in that one, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Amy does puke on her also.
Yeah, because she drinks like a cup with a cigarette in it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little undercut, but also like with American Pie, with Superbad, and with Booksmart, the object of the movie is pretty much only to find where these people are or find alcohol so that these people will have sex with us or like hook up with us, right?
Sure.
Whereas with this movie, it's like the idea is like they want to get with the cheerleaders, but also there's like 100 other things going on.
Yeah.
Which is kind of why I like it, because there's like, it's ADD medicine, basically. Like you can't really get bored of the movie because there's so many things happening.
Excuse me. But it's also important to have that like down moment for a minute, to have this sentimental moment. Because I think that if those moments were played for comedy more, or undercut with something, I think the movie would feel like all over the place and like frantic a little bit. Like I feel like the movie is a bit frantic, not in a bad way necessarily, but like I think that it like keeps getting frantic. I guess the scene where they like share their feelings is like a little bit like that as well, but then it's also undercut with you being like these girls are lying. But like I think that the scenes where they're like hooking up or whatever kind of like ground it back a little bit.
And it's not that they're not funny, because they still are, because like Josie's trying to hide things in her room as Isabel looks around them and like sees the portrait of Jesus on her wall, and she's like, "Oh, I love Jesus too."
Yeah. Dude, when Olivia and I were watching it, she was like, "Yeah, kind of literally me when I went to your place for the first time." And I was like, yeah, because literally like the first time she visited my apartment, I was like, yeah, these are my action figures, this is my lightsaber,
and now they're in your apartment,
and now they're in her apartment as well.
This is just hers.
But like it was also no, I mean like this is her apartment. This is my apartment also, but it is her apartment.
We'll see.
The way I'm making this sounded like we share the apartment 50-50 rent split.
We'll see.
But like I mean, like, this is her apartment, and my dog shit collectibles are in here as well.
Better not call them dog shit. You spent too much money on them.
I did.
Wow.
Focus up, brother.
I'm trying, but there's like something going on in my head right now, I guess. I think I'll pick the date scene, but I do love the scene where Josie
car
is like walking and like ranting about how she's going to get stuck in this loveless marriage.
I do just one more scene shout out. I do like when they're like TPing and egging Jeff's house.
Yeah, I think that scene is
and
great.
Josie and PJ are standing back and they're like, "Wow, this is really gonna show them," because like they are not throwing the TP high enough.
And she's like, "What are we gonna get fined? Like 25 cents?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny that it was like, man, we are rebelling poorly.
And I love the way Kaya Gerber throws the eggs.
Yeah, it's like,
because it's so stiff.
It's stiff. It's very. It's not even stiff. It's just very.
It's like
formulaic.
It's like,
I guess,
this is how I was told how to throw things.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't throw things. Like why would she throw things very often? But like she doesn't throw things often. So she's like, okay, you pick it up, you pull it back, and then you forward and release.
Yeah. It's literally like when we did ball throw in school. And it was like, I forget what it was, but it was like, it's like arms out, L, step, throw, or something. And it's like you could just fucking huck the thing.
She only learned how to throw in gym class.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Favorite casting? I think mine might be Ruby Cruz as Hazel.
I do think that's a very good
one. I think
I was
going
to say Josie. Actress is
Io Debris.
I'd say those two are probably the ones where I'm like, they really like steal the show
for
me.
I don't think there's a single person miscast in this movie.
I think the cast is great. I love the character where like I forget whether Josie or PJ says it, but they turn to her and she's like, and they're like, "You're a black Republican,
but you're
still the smartest of us."
Yeah,
and she was like, "You think I don't know that?" It's like, well, anyway.
It's Annie.
Yeah, I think the whole like all the characters, the whole cast is very, very good. Yeah,
played by Zamani Wilder. Apparently, she was an Ant-Man.
Neat.
Next question is, who would you make a fight club to try and have sex with?
You.
That's just.
Sorry, I don't know where that came from. I don't think I would ever join anything close to a fight club. Maybe if there was like,
well, you're gonna join one now.
Actually hit me for real. Actually hit me hard for real. Dude, your bones are dense. How many times do I have to say this? You can't just throw your limbs at me. It hurts. Your bones are so dense. Dude, you have to stop for real. I'm going to hit you. I'm going to hit you for real. I'm going to hit you for real. Maybe I'd join like a boxing like club or something if there was like proper equipment. I didn't even hit you again. Dude, I'm going to break my mic if I lunge at you, but I'm getting there.
Ow, you pinched me.
Yeah, because you punched me and kicked me, fucker. I don't know what to tell you.
You know Next the ways question. Of dark magic.
Who would you start a fight club to have sex with? Yeah, weird question.
My wife.
There you go. The fact that you need to start a fight club to have sex with your wife is a problem. Next question.
Not IRL.
What?
Adam Driver. I'm thinking we got principal, we got one of the football guys, we got the teacher. Or we could throw him in one of the girl roles. I think he could look good in some of the outfits that Kaya Gerber wears. I think he could really rock those. I think maybe I'm gonna go with
the school shooter guy.
That's insane, but that makes sense. I'm gonna go with the principal, and let's hit him with the ranking. Mr. Cook, where would you like to put this on the list?
You're a scumbag.
I'm not doing anything. That's a ghost. I'm talking to them all around.
You know what the biggest problem with these kinds of bits are? I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to stop it. I don't know how to, like, go with it in a way that will make you not hit me anymore. More?
Do you have an iron deficiency? Why are you bruising all over right now?
No, it's just like, you have dense bones.
That doesn't make any sense, Adam. Do you have osteoporosis?
No, when
Do you have osteoporosis? Answer the question,
Okay,
Cook.
maybe you don't have dense bones. Maybe you have thin skin then.
Doesn't make any more sense at all, actually.
I'd probably put it like...
I think I'm just built like a fire truck.
I'd probably put it like in the everybody wants some to Die Hard area.
Ooh, interesting.
Is that higher or lower than you thought I'd put it?
I guess it seems about right. Yeah, about right for me. Because I don't know if I like it at this moment more than Shiva Baby.
Okay.
But I do feel like in the coming years, if I keep rewatching it, it could rise in the rankings.
That's fair.
But
for me, it's a thing of like above. I'd probably put it above Everybody Wants Some. But
Just
a part of me
under
wants to put it
Silence?
below Marriage Story, which is below Everybody Wants Some, but that's just
quite
the way
the gulf.
this list works out. Yeah, I guess I'd put it at like 20.
Sounds good to me. You want me to type it in, or you want me to type it in? You want me to type it in, or you want me to type it in? I can type it in, or you could type it in.
It's already in.
Oh.
It's already in at 20. So, Bottoms, Calder's pick for best, or not best movie of 2023, but a movie of 2023. Bottoms at 20, below Silence, and above Everybody Wants Some.
I didn't mention the box office of this.
Go ahead.
Cost 11, made 12. Works.
Bit of a bummer.
I don't know. It got acquired by Amazon. I'm sure it made money. And a bunch of people are going to watch it now.
Yeah.
But,
Well, when I went on Amazon, it was literally in the trending page, so I'm sure it's fine.
Next week, we've got Barbie.
Barbie.
Hey, Barbie.
I was going to do D&D.
Honor Among Thieves, because remember, there was a D&D movie in the early 2000s.
It's true.
That was bad.
Yeah. But I was going to do Dungeons and Dragons. I think it's called Honor Among Thieves or something. But I hadn't seen it. I was going to choose it because I wanted to see it. But Calder picked Bottoms because it was a movie he saw and liked. So I kind of wanted to do something similar. So I chose Barbie. I thought about doing The Creator. But like...
What about Oppenheimer?
No, not really interested. Like, I liked the movie, but I didn't really want to watch it again. TBH. Thought about doing the Mario movie, but like, do I really care? I probably would have done Across the Spider-Verse, but we're doing it later.
If they start pumping out some more Nintendos and we're still doing this, maybe we do a little Nintendo miniseries. Like when there's a Link one, or we do like a little video game one.
The Mario movie was kind of just a commercial, but I think it was fine because of what Mario is. It kind of is fine. If you're making a Legend of Zelda movie, it can't be a commercial. It has to be something more.
I think once we get like Zelda, Minecraft,
Jack Black
maybe
is playing
like
Steve in Minecraft.
Maybe one of these like other, like what was the Days Gone, I think is going to be an A20. Oh no, Death Stranding.
Death Stranding, yeah.
Once we get a couple of these, maybe we do a video game movie month or like a little video game movie series. Because I think that's an interesting thing to look at.
Yeah.
But
it seems like video game adaptations are starting to move towards the television realm a bit more, though. Which
I
is fun.
guess, but also like, just figure it out. Like there's such... I've been doing some research on the history of video game movies, and they fucking bumble it immediately.
Oh, yeah, it's always bad.
Yeah.
Every time that there's one where people are like, hey, we're starting to get there, and Hollywood's like, man, this is a cash cow. They blow it.
Because Borderlands is coming out this year.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll be interesting. Like,
maybe.
I don't know. It's a decent director.
There's a Fallout show coming out that looks good.
Yeah.
But, like, who knows?
Yeah.
Last of Us was good.
I don't have full faith in adult video game adaptations yet. Because Last of Us is an outlier, even in the video game realm.
Well, that's the thing. Naughty Dog, who developed Last of Us, literally makes movies that are like...
video games.
Makes video games that are like... people play them and they're like, wow, that was cinematic.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Naughty Dog also developed Uncharted,
Which
and the
sucks.
Uncharted movie blows chunks.
Yeah.
And like, but the reason Uncharted blows chunks is because Naughty Dog was not involved in making it. They were involved in making The Last of Us, and that's why it's good.
Yeah. So,
also Marky Mark made... Let's move on.
I think it's an interesting idea for us to look at later on.
We'll see.
But I understand you not picking Mario.
We do a lot of talking about what we might do in the future to the point where it's impossible we do all of it.
I think that's good. Thank you for listening. Next week is Barbie. Give Barbie a watch if you want to be up to date on the episode. It's on Crave
/ HBO.
Thank you for listening. This was
Max, I believe it's called now.
Okay, brother. Don't get on the they took the heels off the green M&M train, you little Tucker Carlson.
I don't care about it.
You seem pretty pressed.
Why do you keep hitting me in?
Because I'm violent right now. This is my violence.
Why? What prompted it?
Fighting.
What about fighting?
Club.
What about fighting club?
Fight Club.
What about Fight Club?
You ever seen that movie?
No.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. This was the Bottoms episode of the Screen Share Podcast.
Screen Share Movie Podcast.
Just like fucking doing a podcast with my mom and she's trying to get me to clean my room, man. Thank you for listening. Follow us on Spotify or subscribe on YouTube. Like it and also subscribe on... I said subscribe. Fuck. Okay. Done. Bye.